During the Greatest Peak series, we saw the incredible offensive dominance of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Shaquille O'Neal, and those two were probably the best offensive centers we'd ever seen until this guy. Nikola Jokic is having one of the best offensive seasons in league history, and if that sounds wild, it might not in about 10 minutes. Let's start with his high-level stats, where he's near the top of the league in scoring, efficiency, volume playmaking, and outside shooting.
Great Scott.
In 2019, I called him the best passing big man ever, but he's one of the very best passers in the history of the sport, regardless of position or size or year or league or deep breaths. Let's back up a little. Since the days of Oscar Robertson, most heavy lifters on offense dominate the ball. Magic Johnson, Steve Nash, Russell Westbrook. This is what the Athletics' Seth Partnow coined heliocentric offense, with everything orbiting around a primary star who either scores or sets up his teammates. Players like this often provide value with the ball. Trae Young and Luka Doncic possess the rock over 50% of the time on offense, but Jokic only has it about a quarter of the time, yet he's still the fulcrum of the entire Nuggets attack. He often touches it in the middle of the floor, then runs toward the ball to reset if needed, and makes really quick decisions. This is a great example, cutting from the short corner, touch passing it, and then flowing right into a handoff, then rolling to the bucket and tipping in the pass instead of catching it, because of course it makes sense to guide the ball in instead of grabbing it and shooting. He starts as the point guard here, his roll man fizzles out, and so he just gets it right back and looks for a handoff or flows into a two-man game with someone else, and that's just a nightmare to defend for 24 seconds. Since he's so dangerous, his defender never wants to stray too far. Great fake by Jamal Murray there. And he's a big body to get around, so handoffs can catch teams by surprise. Jokic is perpetually involved in screening action like this, and then serves as an outpost for his teammates to work off of. And when defenses try to deny those little handoffs, he just feathers it backdoor instead. Michael Porter Jr. is a bit stuck here, so Joker comes over for that two-man game, and the slightest defensive lapse is a layup around this passing savant. His height lets him stand up top and pick defenses apart in the middle of the floor, and because he's the center, he has up to 4 athletic cutters swarming around him at any time. Denver likes this corner action where someone pops free, and this doesn't even look that open, but it's a warm-up pass for Jokic, and if defenses want to switch on this action, a half step is all the Joker needs to find one of his receivers. To contain these cutters, help needs to come from the weak side, and the slightest move leaves the corner exposed, and he can snap those over the top too. I think this man has the peripheral vision of an eagle. He knows his teammate is there as a set piece, and so he's monitoring this defender out of the corner of his eye, and changing sides turns into more high percentage offense for the Nuggets. We're used to seeing these kinds of skip passes out of pick and roll, but Jokic hits them standing still, and he dribbles way less than a typical heliocentric star, even though he can bounce right into a classic pick and roll and play make out of that too. He doesn't probe around with his live dribble, but he still makes these passes because of all the different delivery angles he can slip around the defense. Of course, if these passing routes ever fizzle out, Joker can just drive it and do the damage himself. He abuses people in these spots, grinding away at his pace until he finds pay dirt, and if you help out too much, he once again beats you with the pass. Joker has great body control when he puts it on the deck, and incredible touch on these short shots. Give him too much space and pick and pop, and he'll drop in moon balls from downtown, and Joker's shooting prowess has made him deadly from long range. Since he's so accurate from out there, his up fake sheds defenders and he can saunter into the paint for soft scores, or he can get them to fly by and Euro step his way into a no-look drop-off. From the mid-range this year, he's been an absolute flamethrower, shooting over 50% from floater range and on long twos. And this feels like the final piece of the offensive puzzle to make him unstoppable. If you sag off him a bit and his layup radar doesn't have any hits, he'll just catapult home a triple, and he can flare into these after his normal screening action in the middle of the floor. His ability to shoot on the move feels particularly unfair, occasionally running slower centers off a screen like a guard, and while he's not quite Dirk Nowitzki, he certainly resembles him at times, with one-legged fades, step backs, and 41% three-point shooting. Jokic has become one of the best outside marksmen in the league. Since the shutdown last March, Nikola's third in field goal percentage on all shots outside 15 feet, and while he takes more twos than most volume outside shooters, this is a 548 shot sample that makes it really clear he's an excellent outside shooter. Or he just can't shoot in front of a live audience. Time will tell. He can also pass on the move, and this makes him a nightmare as a roll man with a 4-on-3 advantage. Remember, he's still a 7-foot wrecking ball, so he can finish on these drives, although his preferred choice of rolls is the one-legged schoolyard floater. By the way, I prefer a sourdough roll. He can always stop at the elbow for a catch-and-shoot jumper, and just when you think that's the best possible outcome, he Larry Birds it home for a layup. Larry Birds is a verb, and if it wasn't, it should be. The definition: rare basketball clairvoyance and audacity that makes the jaw drop, including manufacturing layups out of nowhere off of made baskets. He also makes the extraordinary look routine, and we haven't even mentioned his powerful postgame, where he just methodically grinds his way to a comfortable distance and gently finishes over opponents. This isn't just bully ball. Big Honey has balletic footwork down there, and his controlled tempo and body control let him do stuff like slip to the other side of the rim. He also has a classic right shoulder fadeaway, and that pairs like peanut butter and jelly with one of his favorite post moves, the little right-handed jump hook. There's that pillowy touch. He's quick enough to spin off defenders and even dance back into that hook. My goodness. These skills destroy switches. Jokic just immediately puts smaller players in the meat grinder, and he's just so big and under control that guards stand almost no chance against him. The Nuggets immediately look to punish these switches, and with good spacing, help can't come, and there's another one of those one-handed specials. Who really needs two hands to play basketball anymore? This aggression is a key upgrade in Jokic. His conditioning allows him to keep the gas pedal on the floor at all times. By the way, he's also a great offensive rebounder, particularly following his own shot. These follow-ups mean that his efficiency on scoring attempts is actually higher than the raw numbers indicate. And if we treat these plays as a single scoring attempt for everyone in the league, Jokic gets that Zion boost and looks like one of the top 5 or so scorers in the NBA, at least statistically. Because his passing is so deadly, it's hard to double team him. This is the softest of doubles by Solomon Hill, and that's like parting the Red Sea for Joker. His timing on kickouts is sublime. He bowls this one for maximum airspace for his shooter, and he loves to use that look away to throw off defenders, and these cross-court connections are routine. For Jokic, it's not about finding an open man in 4-on-3 situations, it's about finding the absolute best play. Not every single one of these audacious attempts squeezes through, and sometimes he even misses open layups. But give him the slightest window, and most of the time he finds something magical. The Heat double him here with a shooter up top. He looks at the other corner, but in reality he's hunting layups, so he drops it behind Duncan Robinson's ear, and it's more points inside for the Nuggets. In total, he's arguably the best playmaker in the league right now, one of the best scorers in the NBA, and he can do both with or without the ball, which is enough to make him an all-time great on offense. Among this year's plus-minus leaders, only Steph Curry's Warriors are worse offensively without their top player. But with the Joker, the Nuggets have a ridiculous 123 offensive rating. Unsurprisingly, one-number metrics see him as the best player in the league this year, and while he has plenty of weaknesses on defense, all he has to do on that end is tread water because his offense is at Sage levels. So between his outside shooting, high-end scoring, all-time level passing, and constant involvement in the offense, Nikola Jokic is a solid MVP level player, and his 2021 run might be the best offensive season we've ever seen from a big man. If you want to compare Jokic's stats to other great big men, you can access our historical database at patreon.com/thinkingbasketball. That's the best way to directly support this channel. We have a live monthly Q&A, extra content, and more. I'm interested to hear how you think Joker stacks up with the other great offensive players in league history. As always, thanks for watching all the way to the end, and of course, I hope you are having a great day.